such thing. To me, there would be no such thing as a bad boy if women had standards. Meaning, a man will only do what you allow him to do. If you're going to deal with his bad behavior, if you're going to put up with him not having a job, or put up with him being disrespectful, or juggling multiple women, well then you're creating that monster. If a woman would sit here and tell a man what she requires, what her standards are, put her foot down and demand that, if that man's either going to give it to her or walk away.
But I think that's the fear. Because
nobody wants to
and that's the whole thing, and that's something that I learned. But I have read books and I have hit rock bottom where I was fed the fantasy and all of that, and then come to find out that wasn't what it was.
Right.
And so I had to actually take a break. Like, I think sometimes, a lot of times when we feel like we want to get healthy, you know, we think about diet and exercise and things like that. But there are also ways mentally that you can get healthy. And when you go through a really bad breakup, like a lot of women, we just are like, all right, we just gonna go have sex, or we're just gonna go out to the club and get another man's attention, because you're trying to overcome that hurt. Exactly. You need the distraction. But sometimes you have to go through that, and you have to just take a break and say, you know what, let me get my mind right, let me give this a little break, and kind of just cleanse yourself physically and mentally, you know what I'm saying? And I found that when I did that, after that situation, I almost felt like when I was jumping to have sex or whatever, and then the guy ended up being a jackass, which probably was who he was anyway, I felt even worse than if I were to just be by myself. And so then I just took a minute and I became abstinent. I was dating and I wasn't having sex with anybody, and I noticed that date number, even 1, sometimes 2, I'm like, I don't even like you. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, wow, I probably would have just jumped into bed with this person because I was attracted to him physically, but I don't even like this person. And I think with women, I think if you give yourself that time to figure out what you like and don't like, figure out what that list then when you do meet that guy, he doesn't meet those standards, you're just like, okay, cool, this is what I need, you can't do it, all right. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with that person or anything. It's just, this isn't for me. And I think women are so afraid to be alone that we just are just like, you know what you need to do, but you're afraid to do it, because if he does say, you know what, that's cool, I'm not ready for that, so bye, it's like, oh damn, I don't know if I wanted that.
I actually did that. I lived that. I told the guy that I'm actually with now. When we kind of first, he's a sweetheart. when we first kind of started transitioning into dating a little bit more frequently, I was unsatisfied with what I was being given. So I went to his house. I looked at him in his face. I didn't do it via text, didn't call anything. I looked him in his face and I said, I'm not happy with what we're currently doing. This is exactly what I want. I want this, I want that. If you can't give it to me, I really enjoyed the time that we actually spent together, and I wish you the best in everything that you're doing. I gave him a hug. He was shocked. He was like, you're giving me an ultimatum. Not really. I'm just telling you what I want.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you an ultimatum. You have a decision. You can give it to me or not.
It's almost like that reverse psychology. Like they try to make it negative, and it's like it doesn't have to be negative.
I should be able to tell you what I want.
Yeah, and I think so many women do just accept any and everything, that when you have a woman that challenges you, I think for certain men, they kind of get put off by that, and they're like, oh no, they get, and that's when the intimidation happens. But I think a real man who cares about you is actually going to appreciate you being honest, because I think a lot of marriages, all of that fail because no one's being honest. And by the time you actually get to that point of honesty, it's like a mile
you can't even come back from
where you deal with stuff. And that's one thing I will say in my current relationship, which I think makes us so strong, is we're really good friends. So if something bad happens, or I don't like something or whatever, I'll say what I need to say. And sometimes he'll be like, okay, I get you. Sometimes he gets mad and he'll be like, all right, whatever. He goes take his little moment, and then he'll come back. He'll be like, all right, I see what you're saying. And then there are some things that we just agree to disagree on. And so you just have to you have to pick and choose your battles. And it's just like, can I deal with this? Can I not deal with that, or whatever? And you just have to set the standards for your relationship.
And I think, too, we have to start teaching our girls how to set those standards at a much younger age.
My name is Tamika Newhouse, and you are tuned in to What She Said on the Lit-ish Network, where we keep it real.